what adherence actually is and why we struggle to stick to it. We're into week 3 of the month and talking about things related to adherence, the sticking to it side of things, the side that we often struggle with the most. Because it's quite rare that someone joins us who hasn't had some degree of forward progress towards their goals in the past. So they've lost weight, they've got fitter, they've been doing regular exercise, but they haven't perhaps then maintained it, at least not enough to get all the way to where they want to get to and then to maintain that position. Usually most people that join us have had a degree of yo-yoing back and forth over the years. So it's not necessarily the doing that's been the issue, it's the maintaining, the adherence. And in the vast majority of cases, when we have early conversations with people around that adherence, it becomes clear that we're approaching that in shall we say, not the way that would serve us best. Because when I ask what people are struggling to stick to, the answer is often a bit vague. They'll say it, or all of it, or the eating, or the exercising. And when a plan's vague like that, rarely do we put specific steps in place to make sure that it happens. And we don't really have a way of gauging progress. We don't really know if it's happening. We're just kind of left with how we feel about it. So if our plan is to eat better, and we ask ourselves after a week, or someone else asks us, have you been eating better? It's so vague that we're just really left with how we feel about it. It might be a yes, but there's a pretty good chance overall it will be a no. We probably don't feel it's been going all that great, and we haven't really put any specific steps in place to make that plan happen. If we get more precise with a plan, if we have specifics around what we intend to do, then there's a very good chance we will put steps in place to make those things happen. We will schedule them, we'll diarise them, we'll look at the reasons they might not happen and plan around that. We ultimately have a plan to stick to, a plan to adhere to. Without a plan, there isn't really adherence. And the more tight a plan is, the more specific it is, counterintuitively, as I'll cover later in the week, we're more likely to adhere to it. So if you've been struggling to stick to it, ask yourself, what is the it you've been struggling to stick to? If the answer is vague, if it's all of it, losing weight, eating better, exercising, put a number on it. Make it specific. If that number's too big, again, as I'll cover later in the week, make it smaller. But let's have a specific plan that we intend to do, put some steps in place to making it happen, and it stands a way better chance of then happening and us adhering to that.